All right, welcome in everybody. It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, and we're going to talk ball softball. Karlyn, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We love to be able to switch it up. We've been talking a lot of baseball, switch it up and give the shine to softball as it, rightfully should have, and, spotlight one of their best players. So before we get into all of that, though, I want to talk to you about the other sports. I want to break the ice talking about Tennessee as a whole. Talked about it with Tony Vitello 2 weeks ago, just talking about the culture on Rocky Top. You can go to football, you can go to basketball, you can go to baseball, volleyball, whatever. Like, sports. It's a everything school. Talk about what it's been like for you to be able to experience going to all these different sports. Like, there's never like a dull evening.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's, like you said, an everything school. We have sports that excel in all sports across the board, and being able to be a student athlete and experience going to the football games, that just crazy environment is so cool. And going off of that, just like the Lady Vol, as it is, just like the logo, what it means to, share that legacy with so many people that paved the way before us and to continue that legacy on for the next generation. It's a true honor, and just to be a part of a school like this is truly amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to so many athletes, and we'll obviously get, your why on Tennessee later, but we've literally had some athletes say it's been down to two schools, Tennessee being one of them, and the sports culture at that campus was why they chose it. It put it over the top. The ability to, because, they wanted to be a part of a culture where, everybody cares about all the sports. There's, constant love for all the sports. In Tennessee, I'm an LSU fan, as you can tell behind me. I think
Mhm.
Tennessee and LSU are a group of a handful of maybe five or six schools where you could say they're good at everything and the fan base is invested in everything. Like, I go to the LSU gymnastics, right? And I
Yeah.
bring it up with Tennessee because Drew Gilbert's mom once told me that she hated that Drew picked Tennessee simply because they did not have a gymnastics team, and she loves gymnastics. And it's
Yeah.
like it's one of those things that I feel like Tennessee's got to get soon because they have everything.
Right.
So let's talk music for a second. Obviously, Tennessee is known for the amount of music it produces, but for you, who's your favorite musician to listen to right now?
Oh gosh. That's a tough question because I love some good old country music. So typical choice for me might be like Alan Jackson, George Strait, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the oldies, stick with Alan Jackson.
I mean, I'm going to get to bring this up twice in a week, and I don't think it's ever been brought up prior to that. Like, for you to say George Strait now and Jackson, I talked about it last week. I went to the George Strait Music Festival in Nashville when I was 14 years old. And at the time, I wasn't able to appreciate it for what it really was when my parents took me. Um,
Yeah.
George Strait and Alan Jackson were the headliners, but at that time, because they weren't big yet, you had Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, Leanne Womack, like just a whole stacked list of
Yeah.
country music artists. And I look back on it and it's like, that is wild. And it really shows really the greatness of George Strait, right? Because it's his music festival to have a
Hmm.
lineup like that. And of course, where else would it be than Nashville, right? The Titan Stadium was new at the time. And so
Yeah.
it was really cool. So I'm with you on that. Like that, the old country, it just doesn't get any better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so this is always a fun question. We kind of stereotype women because we only put this for women's questions. I'm going to give that to Daniel. I'm going to give him the shade because he did it, not me. But if you could be any Disney character, who would you be?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Hmm. I'm probably gonna have to go with Rapunzel. I'm jealous of her hair. I think, having good game day hair is important for me. But yeah, I
And
think
you're
it'd be
definitely
cool to.
doing your best effort towards it. I see. Like, I mean,
Right,
you got
yeah.
the long, beautiful blonde hair. I see. Like,
Yeah, I don't know if being locked in a tower would be on my top list, but I definitely envy her hair.
yeah, no, no softball field in the tower. Definitely is a no-go.
Right.
All right, so last one on the icebreaker, and then we'll get into your story. If you could pick one athlete right now, doesn't matter what the sport is, whether in person on TV, but they're playing, you want to see them. Who is it?
Hmm. Also a good question. I've always wanted to go to like the Super Bowl or something when Tom Brady was playing, so probably Tom Brady to get to see him play.
All right, TB12, you heard it. She needs you to come out of retirement. We need to get you to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, and we need tickets. Whoever's going to make it happen, we got it. So, all right, here's what it is. You get a national championship this year, we're going to make it happen because I'm going to talk about how you asked for it, and then you provided Tennessee. And I say that because if there's any fan base that I believe can make something happen, it's
It's
the Vols.
Tennessee.
Like
Oh yeah.
they got power and influence like no other. Like they show up by the thousands when they want to get something done. So hey,
Yeah.
get that national championship on the softball field. We're gonna get Tom Brady back. We're gonna get you in the Super Bowl.
Let's do
All
it.
right, so let's get into it. Where are you from?
I am from a very small town in North Carolina, Weaverville, North Carolina to be exact. It's about 10 minutes outside of Asheville.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I just got back from Bowie's Creek, was covering Campbell. I love North Carolina. I'm a firm believer that because I've met so many people, whether athletes or when I was in the military, I've never met anyone who didn't like being from North Carolina. Would you
Oh
say the
yeah,
same
it's
thing?
beautiful. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's got all the seasons. There's stuff to do. It's a great tourist place too. I know a lot of people visit Asheville, so it's a great place.
Absolutely. So let's talk about family dynamics. What's it like growing up? You got mom, dad, brothers, sisters. What we got?
Yeah, so both my moms, they grew up playing sports, and then I have two older brothers, Race and Colton. Race, he played sports growing up in high school, and then Colton, he tried sports and then kind of left it in the past. So, but yeah, my family's definitely, been competitive since I was young, and getting to play with my brother and all that kind of got me into sports and kind of where I am now. So.
So did you have and do you still have a good relationship with your brothers? Has it been one of those that they've always, taken care of you as the little sister?
Oh yeah, definitely. My brother, he goes to college right across the mountain at ETSU, so we talk all the time. And my oldest brother is there's quite a big age difference, but he's always supporting me and watching the games, coming to the games when he can. So it's great having two older brothers that look after me.
Absolutely, I imagine so. I actually had it the opposite. My sister was 9 years older than me, that big gap that you're talking about. But from when I was a little kid to still now, even almost 40 years old, I can call her when I need something. That's a beautiful part about siblings. You may hate each other a
Oh
lot
yeah.
growing up, but at the end of the day, you know you can depend on them.
Yeah, for sure. I could call it either of them and it'd be a quick answer.
So, who would you say is the most inspiring person to you growing up? Was it a family member? Was it a coach? Was it a, famous athlete? Who would you say when you were a kid getting into sports? Who inspired you?
Yeah, I would have to go with my dad on that one. My mom's gonna hate me for saying that, but my dad always was the one, out in the backyard sitting on the bucket when he got off work late at night, and he pushed me to keep practicing and keep working hard. And believe it or not, he's still when I'm home over break and stuff, he'll get down and pop a squat and catch my bullpens. So it's been great to just build my relationship with him and be able to lean on him when I need advice and everything like that. So he's definitely been a big inspiration for me and just to, pursue softball and working hard at what I do. And he's helped me a lot with that.
I think it's the right answer, and let me tell you why. The female athletes always say dad, and the male athletes always say mom. And I think it's just the right answer. Like, my daughter is an athlete, and she would say dad, even though her and her mom are closer. But when
Yeah.
it comes, it's like you said, sitting on that bucket, right? I know between me and my wife who was out there late at night, grinding, sweating, and so yeah, you got to give the shout out to dad. But it
Yeah.
wasn't just softball you played. I mean, volleyball, basketball, obviously just an athletic stud growing up. Would you say that playing three different sports growing up made you a better overall athlete and even a softball player, even though you're playing multiple other sports?
Yeah, I would definitely say for sure. Growing up, I tried to do as much as I could. And, part of that was just because I love sports. I love, going out there and staying after it. But, when I realized softball was going to be my main sport and focus for college and stuff like that, I kept playing basketball and volleyball to, keep my stamina up for softball season and keep, you know, basketball is a totally different sport than softball, but it allowed me, keep running, keep jumping, stuff like that, that allowed me to be, athletic when it came to softball season. So I think it just really did a great job of keeping me in shape and being able to incorporate being a leader on my volleyball team and my basketball team to help me, in softball as well. So it's great being competitive all year round.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a fun question to always ask is, speaking of fun, was softball always the most fun growing up, or was it one of the other ones that you weren't necessarily better at? Because we have a lot of athletes, guy just last night talked about playing football in the Friday night lights, but ultimately he ended up being a college baseball player. He was a lot better at baseball, but he loved football. Was softball the actually most fun growing up?
Well, softball was my first love as a sport. I really loved softball and I played it from such a young age. When I first got into volleyball, though, I fell in love with it as well. But I didn't start playing volleyball till I was around middle school. So softball always had that special part in my heart. But I loved basketball and volleyball just as much. But softball, I was just a little more passionate about to go the next level with.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned about volleyball, which is crazy if anybody looks at a picture of you, you're undersized for volleyball, which is just wild to me. We had
Yeah.
Johnny Taylor from Kentucky on. She was our first ever volleyball guest, and she's 5'10", and she was talking about how undersized she was. And I was like, I'm 5'10". Like, what in the world? Like, and so
Yeah.
it's crazy. So I go to my first ever college volleyball match, and sure enough, man, these girls 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". Like, you gotta be tall to play volleyball. Obviously, you got the libero that is the shorter one, but like all the
Yeah.
rest of them, my goodness.
Yeah, there's some tall girls for sure.
It's kind of intimidating. Then they slam that ball down at like 100 miles an hour. Like they
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
bring smoke. And so I say that all to say that you played volleyball, so I am familiar with how much athleticism it takes and how intense it is. So you add that to the fact that you played softball and then obviously basketball. You're going to be banging around. So I know that you're an extreme athlete without even seeing the tape on all those. So you get serious into softball. Obviously, travel ball is such a big thing in softball. What travel team did you play for?
So I played for South Carolina Elite growing up. Dana Fusetti and Tony Genovese were my coaches. I played for that team my entire pretty much travel ball career. And, my coaches for that team, I thank them so much for what they did for me as an athlete and getting me recruited and just the um, opportunities that they gave me to play with them and get all that experience. It was so great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Randy, who wasn't able to be here, like I was talking about, he's busy all the time with his daughter's travel softball. Like it's
Yeah.
an every weekend thing. It is, it controls their schedule. It's what can we do outside of softball because that's the schedule set first. Because if you're going to be in it like you were and like his daughter is, you got to be able to devote all your time to it. And
Right.
if you want to play at a high level, you're going to be on the road constantly playing, high caliber teams. This isn't rec league where you got Wednesday night and go play down the street. So
No.
and so you get to your level and you got to do that. And then you obviously got to manage that along with high school. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at North Buncombe, also kind of a smaller high school. We had a pretty good softball program the years I was there. Went to state my last, I think we made it to the state championship my last year there. Came in second place, tough loss, but those girls back there, it was so fun just being able to, live out my high school softball years and spend that time with them and the girls on that team it was a great bond we had.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the interesting dynamic. You play club travel and you play high school, and it seems like, with the great athletes, it's the bonding experience, it's the camaraderie, the friendship that you really get in the high school scene, obviously, because you also go to school there. So all that ties in. And then really when you get down to business, it's all about when you're on the travel scene. And I see that with my daughter as well. But I feel like you have to have that high school experience to offset it, right? Like it's a time to
Yeah.
kind of like enjoy it more. Even though you're trying to win, it's still serious. It's more
Yeah.
laid back.
Yeah, win or lose, I mean, we were always having fun with that group of girls. It was great.
Absolutely. So, you know, get you something to drink, calm down, take a break. I'm going to take forever to read this because when we talk about accolades, rated by Extra Inning Softball as the number 2 pitcher and number 5 overall prospect in the class of 2022, 2021, Gatorade Softball Player of the Year for the state of North Carolina, 2-time Division I Female Athlete of the Year, selected as one of the 21 high school juniors to compete in the 2021 PGF Future All-Americans game, named Extra Inning Softball National High School Player of the Week multiple times, one game throwing 17 strikeouts and going 4 for 5 at the plate with 2 homers, which is just insane. Selected as the WMAC Softball Player of the Year as a freshman in 2019 and Pitcher of the Year in 2021. Racked up 207 strikeouts to accompany a staggering 0.41 ERA your junior year, tossing a perfect game and 4 no-hitters. Also hit .503 at the plate as a junior with 28 runs scored, 5 home runs, 22 stolen bases, and oh, by the way, a .764 on-base percentage. So I ask you, Karlyn, when I read those off, does that mean anything to you, or is it just something that's in the rearview mirror and you know it is what it is?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it. I don't even really pay attention to all of it. It's funny because my mom, she keeps up with all that stuff and will let me know when I get an accolade or something. I'm like, oh, cool. And it's in the past for me. I mean, I'm always just looking for the next thing, you know?
Yeah, and it's crazy, right? And I think it's because of the amount of success you've had. It's one of those things that, you're used to being successful, and so it doesn't really, for those of us regular Joes, right? Like it's a big thing to accomplish some things, but when you do it like that, you're now set on the next goal, which is a national championship. All those other things are in the
Exactly.
past, and it's not that those weren't meaningful to you. Obviously, you love people, noticing how talented you are, but it's about getting to that ultimate goal. So, clearly you're a highly coveted prospect when you read a list like that. So, just how early did you start getting recruited?
Yeah, so my recruitment process was a little different because of the rule change in softball. So I was getting recruited in seventh, eighth grade by some schools, and then with the new recruiting rule, they cut off contact from young recruits, and then you weren't allowed to speak to colleges until your, I think it was junior year of high school. So I was being recruited, all through pretty much 14U of travel ball, and then I started getting a lot more attention once I got into 16U, and then September 1st hit, and it was an exciting day for sure.
Yeah, and I love that they changed the rule because we've had so many athletes on here say that even though they wouldn't change where they picked, having to make the decision in eighth grade is
Hmm.
overwhelming. It's an unnecessary pressure that you shouldn't put on a young kid. And like I said,
Yeah,
they said they wouldn't change where they went, but give them time to process. And then also a lot of the ones that chose really early didn't really
yeah,
go on their recruiting visits, didn't go check out numerous places. And I feel like that's a big part of the process. Even if you know
yeah.
that you're going to Tennessee, I feel like it's cool to be able to go to five other schools and check them out and see what the campus is all about, and just to make sure that you have your decision pick right. But with that, what was it about Tennessee you said this is the place for me?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee is right in my backyard. I grew up going to their camps, and I knew this just like the legacy that Tennessee softball had. Monica Abbott and what she did here was a major thing. I looked up to her and what she had done at her time at Tennessee, and I wanted to make a name for myself, and Tennessee just has everything. Like you said, it's an everything school. They have football, softball, basketball, you name it, and I wanted to be a part of a school that had that great culture and just that family environment that I feel here with the coaching staff. So it checked all my boxes, and I made the best decision possible. So yeah,
Absolutely, I agree. And I brought this ball. I got it from Ivy Davis, who was our first Tennessee softball guest, and she going all the way back 3 years ago when we had her on, and all the ball players we've talked to within have said the same thing. They went there because it's just a culture unlike any other. And so, without me even being on that field and knowing what you're experiencing, I can go off the number of ladies who have came on here and said the same thing as you, and trust that y'all did make the right decision because it's been, resaid by all of y'all. And with that, perfect segue. You said Monica Abbott. I got the list of
yeah.
questions Randy sent me to ask you, and here's the first one, and I love it. Um, you know, the fastest recorded pitch in college softball is 77 miles an hour by Monica Abbott. You threw 76 last year. He wants to know any chance you're going to break that this season.
Well, that's the plan. Yeah, that was always kind of a little goal in my head to break the record of the fastest pitch. So when I saw I hit that number in the World Series, it was like, okay, we're doing this. I got 3 years
Have
to.
Have you and her had any talks jokingly about it?
No, not one on one, but Monica's a great athlete. I look up to her and whatever, all the stuff she's done for Tennessee and just putting it on the map. So it's great to have my name next to hers when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, because I wonder, because I don't know her personality specifically, but you have some men or women who they legitimately want to see others shine and break the record, and you got some that don't want to see their record broke. And I know me personally, I'm selfish. I don't want my record broke at all. So like, to use an example, Wake Forest this year, Brock Wilkin, who just set the home run record for Wake Forest in the ACC last year. He said that not only is his teammate Nick Kurtz going to set it, he wants him to set it. And I was like, bro, like you're the home run king. Who wants to? But they're friends, so maybe that makes it different.
Right.
But yeah, if you have the fastest pitch, that's some pretty good clout there to walk around and say. You haven't been big on the accolades, but that might be one you might hold your head up high about for sure.
Yeah.
So coming off the freshman All-American season, Tennessee having such a great run in the World Series, how do you adjust to an even larger role on the staff this year coming into your sophomore season?
Yeah, that's a great question. Last season it was a great start for my freshman year. It put a target on our back and we had a great run. And, this year we've lost Ashley Rogers. She played a huge role for me, just being a role model, showing me, as a pitcher what we need to do and what, a pitcher needs to do for the team and everything. So I think this year I'm just, sticking to our game plan. We have a whole pitching staff. And so when my name is called upon, I do my job and then I rely on my team to get the job done as well. And, we all do a great job of just, relying on each other and trusting the process and just staying neutral when it comes to those pressure situations.
Absolutely. So you led the SEC last year in the whiff on your changeup at 61.8% when the national average was 27%. Talk about your ability to throw a 76 mile an hour to changing speeds, just the balance in a league that's so talented to be able to make that adjustment and be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, my changeup, I would probably consider my most important pitch to have in my arsenal. Throwing hard is great and all, but when you're facing batters in the SEC, if you just keep throwing it in there, they're eventually going to get their timing on it. So to have that changeup in my back pocket to use whenever hitters get their timing on, it's definitely really helpful for me just to have the confidence to throw in an off-speed pitch like that to help me with my, pitch sequence.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, people talk about the differences in baseball and softball, and they are very different. But one of the things that's similar when it comes to pitching is the changeup. If you have that in your arsenal, it can be the best thing you have, especially when you throw gas like you do. And it's amazing actually in both sports how many pitchers don't have it. And so
Yeah.
I love that you have that. And so yeah, nothing better than if you can break off that heater that is a record and then drop off that soft little change up to mess them up, absolutely make them look silly at the plate. Uh,
Right.
on a non-field question, we've had Charlie Orsini on here, we've had Jameson Brockenbrough. I love the personalities of them. I follow all of y'all on social media. I love seeing the camaraderie and just the chemistry amongst the Lady Vols. So let's talk about that for a second. Just how much fun is it to be able to live your life with these ladies? Y'all do everything together. It's not just softball, but it's we talk about the culture, but being a part of that bond that you have with the team and those ladies and just everything that comes with being a Lady Vol.
Yeah. I mean, our team is so great. Like we spend so many hours together at the field and weights and we still come back to, the dorm and we're still hanging out and we all just love each other's presence so much and, I honestly believe like I would do anything for these girls and I think that contributed to the success that we've had and just having that great team chemistry kept us going in season so far because we just love being around each other. But yeah, this year is just as good. I love my teammates. We always have a good time. We're always cutting up. So I think that's played a huge role and will continue to play a huge role in our success this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I know a team that we've covered, no matter what the sport is, over the 4 years we've done this, where they've won and didn't have chemistry. It has to happen. You're
Yeah.
not going to be able to put a team together out there and win if the team's not vibing. And actually, you can correlate a lot of times when you see a team struggle, you'll hear about it, right? Like there's troubles in the locker room, and so
Hmm.
I think it's very important. And like I said, I love seeing you ladies doing stuff outside of softball together. I think it's good team bonding, building. And so I love it. So to start this season though, 4-2, two tough losses, Stanford 1-0, Texas 2-1. And then you have a bunch of games rained out, which I know absolutely bums y'all because the loss hangs on y'all longer, right? Your last game you lost, and now you got to sit there and let it simmer. But I know that y'all are going to use that in an advantageous way, right? Y'all are going to use it to put that chip on your shoulder and say, all right, we got work to do. We got to get back and figure out what we need to do to play our brand of softball. So Talk about what that reset's been like. Y'all are getting ready for the Mary Nutter Classic where you have 6 games in Cathedral City. Talk about what that reset's been like for the team, practice, coach's message, all that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's February, so we're playing these top teams and very early on in the season, and we don't want this to be our peak in our season, right? We want to keep going on and keep getting better and better. So, obviously, our team we work hard in practice, and we're going to continue to keep doing what we need to do to prepare for these teams. But yeah, we're just excited to get back out there to play and show them what we got. So.
Yeah, so you talked about the pressure and going from the freshman to sophomore, and then obviously a Vols, depending on what ranking, all top five though, no matter which one you look at, and being the hunted. Does it add any extra to pressure, or is it still just the same for you taking care of business?
Yeah, like you said, just taking care of business. I think our team, we've been focusing this season on neutral thinking and just, doing our job, stay process focused and not looking ahead. Don't even bother paying attention to the rankings and stuff like that. We have a job to do and just sticking to our team goals and, like I mentioned, our process and just relying on that whenever we're in those pressure situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So last one, and then we'll play a game. I'll tell you how big a deal it is for me to see you ladies, especially because we have 3 guests on the team, and just because I want to see the greatness it is of all softball. I'm gonna go watch y'all in Starkville, but I'm gonna have to navigate. But if successful, could be the greatest weekend of this year because the same weekend that y'all have your series with Mississippi State is at Ole Miss, and that matchup in baseball is the biggest in the nation. Like last year, that they were the 2 last place teams and still set the attendance record in college baseball, right? Like forever, not just last season. And so that series is going to be at Ole Miss this year. So I'm going to navigate going back and forth, which they're good 2 hours away from each other. But it's
Hmm.
worth it to me because to get what right now is a number 21 versus number 4 matchup. But that aside, got guests on both sides, talent on both sides. Um, I'm all in because you're talking about baseball and softball one weekend. All these guests that we know, me and Randy, we're going to navigate this thing. So I'm excited. So with that, wish y'all nothing but the best of the luck until then, taking care of business. But I'm excited to see y'all just, are you excited to, Nutsfield's a pretty solid place. Starkville's a nice place to play. How excited are y'all for that series when it does come?
Yeah, we're very excited. I mean, all we want to do is play, right? We've been working hard in the off season to, perfect what we're doing and stay process focused, and we're ready to take that to the field and just show everybody what's coming this season.
Yeah, just don't hit Briley St. Clair with that changeup too hard, all right? Because we don't like our guests getting their feelings hurt. Now I'm just kidding. It's competition. No mercy for both sides. But
Right.
with with that, we're gonna put you on the hot seat. We're gonna play a game called This or That, where ask you questions. You choose one or the other. Can't say both. Can't say neither. Are you down to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this or that is brought to you by Chinook Seedery. 8 flavors, mild to wild, the best in the game. I have to do a plug on this episode because her teammate, I am proud to say, was the first female ambassador I was able to set up, Jameson Brockenbrough, and you can use her code Jameson19. And not only does it help her through NIL, you get a discount. And because I brought up Mississippi State, if you happen to be a non-Tennessee listener, maybe a Mississippi State fan, probably not though. Karlyn, they're probably not tuning into the Tennessee episode. But if you are, you can get Briley 12 for your code as well. But ultimately, it's about getting the best seeds in the game and growing the brand. So with that, let's play. Chicken or beef tacos?
Chicken.
No doubt. Would you go chicken or steak though?
Still chicken.
Really? Really? I think that might be a first. We actually said last night it feels like no one's ever not going to say steak. So do you like them soft or hard?
Probably hard. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Y'all have it. Y'all hear it, sponsors? Hard chicken tacos. NIL, let's make it happen. All right, bar or liquid soap?
Liquid.
Liquid doesn't clean your hands all the way, right?
I didn't know that. No.
No, that's not true. I just say that to every guest to mess with them. It's actually just a weird thing that me and Daniel debate. I prefer bar. He prefers liquid. I put it on here. It's actually led to multiple conflictual arguments. We don't get into him when he's not here, so it's all right. That's why you're not going to hear it.
Right.
All right, here's the most important questions on this entire list to me. Smoky grays or pinstripe uniforms?
Hmm. Pinstripe.
All right, pinstripe versus summit blue.
Summit blue.
So this isn't the actual question, but I'm just curious. If you had like the summit blue, or you had to either get rid of it, or it was the only uniform you could wear, what would you do?
Gosh. I'm
I feel
standing
like
with
that's
the
the actual
summit
hard
blue.
question. Yeah, I feel like,
That's
but
hard, yeah.
yeah, I can say that I know numerous fans that aren't Tennessee fans that say it is the best uniform in softball and what it
Yeah.
represents, right? With Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
So, and everyone has respect for Pat Summitt. Doesn't matter who you root for. So I feel like it's got to be the go-to uniform that you wear. And if it was the only uniform, like, so be it. And I don't know what your win percentage is, but if y'all winning them a lot, I definitely have more.
Yeah, I'm not superstitious, but definitely what it represents, the summit blue is my go-to.
Yeah. So would you rather, and to say ahead of time, there's no good answer here, right? Like, so you're choosing the best option of the two that you can. Would you rather be
Hmm.
lost in a jungle at night or lost in a haunted house?
Lost in a jungle for sure.
You
I
do
feel like that's
realize
on my
the
bucket
tigers
list.
aren't caged, and the snakes and spiders and everything. Like, a jungle's scary.
Yeah, but a haunted house, I feel like is that'd be worse.
I don't know.
Survival instincts would kick in the jungle, I feel like.
I'm actually curious. So each year we change, or each season we change this question. I want to go back to last year's to see what you say. Would you rather be trapped with a grizzly bear or a tiger?
Oh, that's a good one. Grizzly bears like rip your skin off.
Like I said, no good answer, but it's like, which do you like want to try to tackle and see if you can make it out?
Yeah. I guess
Blake
I'd have to
Blake
go
Burke said he
bear.
would. Blake Burke said he'd play dead with the bear, and I thought that was interesting because of all our guests, he's like one of the biggest dudes, and all the
Yeah.
others talking about fighting or running, and this man said, "I just play dead."
Yeah, no, I think I'd have to go with bear too. I feel like maybe it's slower than a tiger, maybe.
But it's crazy because you look at a bear and you wouldn't think it to be fast. It runs 35 miles an hour. And then, we have guests who aren't knowledgeable about either and say, well, I'll climb a tree. Well, news for you, they both can climb. So
Yeah.
there's no safe spot.
Right.
All right. So we go from the losing question to the winning question. There's no wrong answer on this one. Private yacht or private jet?
Private yacht.
Water
Uh,
person. That's
yeah,
what I say.
yacht.
I know the jet gets you everywhere fast, but I like being out on the water. You give me a private yacht and I can just hang out. I'm all.
Yeah.
All right, the money question, and this is the last one. Would you rather win $10 million or win a national championship?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Hmm. I mean, realistically, probably $10 million. That's life changing. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the 10 million. Don't tell our
You,
coach I said that though.
and I actually appreciate it. You would be surprised how many athletes don't choose money because they don't want to like sound like that person, but
No one's
you
giving up $10 million. Like,
Randy will be the first one. He's the money guy of the three of us. He's like $10 million. He's like, I'll cut Jim and Daniel loose right now as friends for $10 million. And yeah, it's life altering. But there is the flip side, right? We had Paul Skeens on after he was drafted #1 in the MLB draft, and he did get a $10 million bonus. And he said he would give the draft back and the money and keep his national championship and all the memories that come with it. And maybe that's because he
yeah,
has that viewpoint, right? You haven't got that yet, and maybe you would change
right.
if you had it. But and that's
Yeah.
the thing; it's never the hardware; it's the memories that come along with winning a national
Oh
championship.
yeah. Yeah, that was a tough question. Now I'm
Yeah,
like
no.
reconsidering my answer.
Well, Trey Lipscomb, former VFL, he hit me hard with it. So I had asked him on his original show, and then he came on our show, Pros and Joes, and he goes, "You know what? You always ask these questions." He said, "I want to ask you." He said, "Podcast or $10 million?" I said, $10 million. He goes, "No, no." He goes, "Everything that comes with it." He said, "I've seen you and your son have been to Omaha every year. You go to all these games together, all these cities. You meet all these
Yeah.
friends. You interview all these players." He starts tying it all in. He says, "So all that or $10 million?" I was like, "You know what, Trey? That's why I asked the questions. That's bull." I was like, and he's like, "Exactly, because you would take the memories." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm not throwing away the last 4 years with my son."
Right.
So it's definitely an interesting thing with memories, but you're off the hot seat. There is no wrong answer. And I will not tell anybody, but if your coach listens, it is what it is. So with
Well,
that,
I'm gonna get the 10 million and then we're gonna win the national championship anyways, so it'll be all
there,
right.
there you go. And with your 10 million, you're taking everybody to dinner and they'll forgive you.
Yeah.
All right. So you're off the hot seat. Is there anything you want to plug or promote? Do you have NIL, nonprofits, anything like that?
I guess you guys, if you want to go support the Lady Vols, go check out the Lady Vol Booster Club. They do so much for all Lady Vol athletes to support them and help them throughout their collegiate careers with NIL. So yeah, go check them out for sure and donate.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you want to see what's going on the Diamond Vol underscore softball, these ladies work hard and their program does everything to make sure that you're informed on everything. You get great pictures, videos. You can see her throwing the absolute gas. You can see them. I mean, they go to amazing places. Y'all, I mean, California is on deck next. And so see what these girls are doing on the diamond and off the diamond. You can see what Karlyn's doing. She made it simple for you. Her IG is her name. So all you have to do is type in her name. You can find out what she's got going on. Maybe on a Tuesday afternoon, she's doing a random podcast. Who knows?
Never know.
Um, but with that, I thank you for your time and, wish you the best of luck and stay healthy and have fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. That's Karlyn Pickens, everybody. If you like hearing her story or you just like hearing Average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on Twitter, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, ratings, comments, hugs, love, feedback, all that good stuff is welcome. We'll see everyone back next week. We'll have the crew back and we'll be talking to Ethan Fry of LSU baseball to get his story, talk about last year's national championship and how the season's going so far. But with that, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.